Revelations chapter 12, beginning at verse 9. And the great dragon was cast out, that old serpent called the devil and Satan, which deceiveth the whole world. He was cast out into the earth, and his angels were cast out with him. And I heard a loud voice saying in heaven, Now is come salvation and strength, and the kingdom of our God, and the power of his Christ. For the accuser of our brethren is cast down, which accused them before our God day and night. And they overcame him by the blood of the Lamb, and by the word of their testimony, and they loved not their lives unto death. Okay, before we go into the testimony again, I just want to give another example of another time when Janice engaged a relationship that was totally illegal. When I came over to her place, I had this guy to help me who was married, and she knew he was married. She engaged conversation with him about me, and so it was totally unauthorized, illegal, and after the fact, the guy and his son was looking at it as though, like, what's wrong with her? I mean, it was an open door for her to even engage in illegal fellowship with this guy. And while we were there, she was asking, unbeknown to us, we didn't know that she had engaged in this little whatever conversation. She asked whether or not could he come back over there to work on her toilet. So that's a demonstration of this pattern that she had of engaging people's husbands. Okay, also I talked about the fire. Hey, on the first level, I want to make it clear that it's about purity. The enemy of that fire is going to be against purity, and on another level, according to Deuteronomy 32, it's going to be against the original Jews who are black. At the beginning, God said we all were black. And so the devil has made a distinction, over time, when you consider at the beginnings of time, Genesis, of people who burnt that fire from Cain. He marked his people, and God said over the years, the people who burned that fire, they turned white. And that's how they became the Gentiles. We got Gentiles, and you got the original Jews, the black people, the dark people. And so, yeah, from just being completely white to the different shades of the lighter skin to darker skin, hey, it is a result of that. It's a result of the fire, and yeah, the entities of that fire is gonna make a distinction, and it's gonna cause racism, and yeah, I actually pull out the fact, hey, confusion just about race. That's what the enemy's gonna do, and he's gonna bring up a distinction with color. But for those of you who are authorized, it's not about black and white. It's not about black and white for me, because I'm authorized. I do not practice racism. But yeah, when you're practicing that fire, the entities of that fire is gonna make it about actually the color black or white. Okay, and so that's what it's about. I just wanted to make that clear, because yeah, it is about purity, and the entities of that fire is against purity, because it's a sexual perverted fire, and then it's against the original Jews, black people, and that is established in Deuteronomy 32, because that's what God said. He says he's gonna kindle a fire, and it was gonna be against the original Jews. Okay, and so at any rate, I just wanted to deal with some issues. I feel like you can look at it clearly with me and Janice. As I've already stated, it's an arrogant fire. You're going to be arrogant. A number of people have been criticized of being arrogant, and it's a result of that fire. For example, the deception. I want to deal with the deception of the fire. People burn that fire and they think they're better, okay? They think they're on another level. Again, Janice, she said, well, I stay in this location, and so you stay there down the street and around the corner in some apartments, so I'm better than you. I don't think so. and I said, let's take an analysis of this fire. Okay, your mother stays across the street from my grandmother in a house, and she has a husband. Okay, you burn fire. Your mother, 9 times out of 10, she got a man. You burn fire. That's a given. 9 times out of 10, people with a husband, they burn fire. Every now and then, they may not. And usually, if they get the man, they won't keep him. Okay. Okay, you got the fire. You got sexual perversion in your home. 9 times out of 10, they're gonna drink. You're gonna have and you have all these different things that seems to be the increase of your home, but it's really not an increase. Because your soul is not prospering. You're not going to be yourselves. That devil is going to vicariously live through, different individuals in your home. And, it's at the end of the day, I don't think it's prosperous. I think it's prosperous when you can, dwell together and live together and be yourself. It may take longer. Things may go slower, but that's increase. That's real increase. That's true increase. And you can't see it just as it relates to material things and money. You may not be able to see it in that way, but in other ways, you're getting an increase. And little is much with Christ. And I just want to introduce the fact that, when I consider my father, my mother did not burn fire. We nevertheless had a home. We had our own home, but we had someone else in the family who did burn fire, and they targeted fire, and as a result, we went through hell. My family went through hell. My mother went through hell. My father went through hell. They loved each other. And one thing the Holy Ghost let me know that what my father should have done was engage prayer. He should have got into God, and he didn't. He was just living just a morally good life. And good morals just not going to help you come against unauthorized fire. And so, of course, my family went through hell. But I can honestly say that my daddy, we had a wonderful relationship. I love my dad. I love, just everything that he stood for and the positive things that he put inside of me. I mean, growing up, he made me feel like a princess. He took me to the stores. He bought me clothes. And I just remember one time we were walking to the store. I was like 5 years old, 4 or 5 years old. And he told me, he said, Debbie, never trust anyone, no man. Never let a man touch you. He told me that my friends, they talk about touching their daughters on the job, and it's wrong. It is wrong, Debbie. And never trust anyone. Don't even trust me. He told me that. And that he marked my life. That was profound for me, and I never forget it. And he always taught me to love myself. He said, you love yourself. You keep your panties up, you love yourself. And that, he instilled that on the inside of me. And people look at me like, I love myself. I do. I really love myself, and it's because of my dad. And a lot of children cannot say that. They cannot say what I'm saying today because their parents burn fire and their fathers are sleeping with their daughters. It has happened from low to high. From mediocre as far as your financial. And so I just wanted to add that my dad, he never touched me inappropriately. He would always give me kisses and hugs and, take me out. Buy me clothes. And he told me that he loved me. And he was so concerned about just being there for us, He was like, my dad wasn't here, he wasn't here for me. And I want to make sure that I'm always there for you. No matter what, I'm going to be here. And he was there for us. And even when my mom left him, he came around and he stayed in our lives. And I appreciate that. And he just gave me so much love and deposited just good words, telling me again to love myself and and even considering relationship with other boys, you just make sure you make sure you love yourself, okay? You love yourself. And so yeah, my dad never touched me inappropriately, and that I think is so advantageous in making me the person that I am today, because these girls, when they are touched, you take something away from them. And I've heard ministers say, get over it. And I think it's so cruel, because when you touch these little girls inappropriately, it's hard for them to get over. You don't just say get over it. And 9 times out of 10, these people that are saying that, they are perpetrators. They're doing it. And you're not over it, because you're going through mentally yourself, hiding. And so it is an issue. It's been an issue under the dispensation of unauthorized fire. That's what you're going to get. You're going to get sexual perversion. And so even growing up in my home, I had such a wonderful relationship with my brother. My mom did not burn, and he never touched me inappropriately. I mean, just had the best relationship with my brother Stanley. Yes, we fought, we fussed, but that's my brother, and I love him unconditionally. So yeah, growing up in my home, never was touched inappropriately by my brother. Just had a very clean relationship. Man, my brother was always concerned about, who's tipping around you. If one of his friends liked me, he'll tell me. I was like, oh no, I don't think so. And he laughed, just making sure, yeah, that's the way you be, sister, But my brother, he was always taking care of me and making sure that, I wasn't getting into anything prematurely. He was checking me if I was listening to a worldly song, like, hey, you may just need to back off that, get your mind on other things. My brother, he was a great brother growing up. So yeah, I never experienced, any type of sexual perversion, with my dad or my brother, So that's a plus, and it's because my mother didn't burn unauthorized fire. So I think, hey, at the end of the day, instead of turning around in a 3 times in a 1-room almost house, it'd be better. I would rather be in an apartment. It's roomier, and I'm living the real. My mother's not burning unauthorized fire, and the advantageous point, and what I'm experiencing is, hey, I haven't been touched. I wasn't touched inappropriately by my loved ones, and I guarantee you, it's been whole, it's been clean, it's been all of that, and that's a part of making me who I am. And a lot of people, they can't say that, but that's the richness of doing it God's way. So at the end of the day, who's broker? I think it's broke to go through your life angry because you have been touched and you're burning that fire and you're continuing to defile yourself. That's broke. It's really amazing when I sit back and think about the number of people that were around me who burned unauthorized fire. I can count 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 or 5 people. They burnt unauthorized fire, and as far as I'm concerned, I feel like they cheated. Yeah, you got your mate. You got, you was able to work in the system without interruption, but you had fire. And then I'm like, and the fact that these people could hang around me, they were supposed to be my close friend. You can tell that there's an enemy between me and that person, simply because, if this fire is so good, if it's working out advantageously for you, why wouldn't you share that with your friend? Someone who you said is your just close dear friend, why wouldn't you share? So to me, that proves that you have it's an enemy in that fire, because these people who are supposed to be your close friend, they love you, they cannot even share it. And so, yeah, as far as I'm concerned, you cheated. Yeah, you got the increase. You were able to speak articulately and everything. And yeah, and I give you credit. You practice, you read, you studied, but again, there's an anointing that comes with that fire. And then the old entity of that fire, because as God has ministered to me about, people who I have, supported and ministered to because they were put through the fire. God told me about one young lady, said she had an old man. It was an old man spirit. Her mother slapped. It was a spirit of an old man that's following her, that's in her aura. So that's why in the Bible where it talks about the queen of the south, it says make sure that the light that's in you is not darkness. And see, that light that's in you, when you flick your candle, you're going to open up a gateway for that light in you, which is darkness, for that familiar spirit to begin to vicariously operate in your life. And so that's what you've done. And so you'll look pretty at the beginning, but at the end of the day, you're going to feel the infirmity of that fire. You're going to live out the sexual pervertedness of that fire. And so as time progresses, you're going to deal with all that uncleanness. And at the end of the day, you're going to be just overburdened and just pulled down with that fire. When those who have gone the right way, waiting on God, not putting that fire on them, they're going to be, without all the sexual perversion. And indeed, hey, God said these two people cannot even hang around each other because you're not going to like the person that has practiced purity. These people are going to try to tear you down. And indeed, this is what I have experienced time and time again. So, there's no more advantage to me being around Janice, because she's demonstrated, and the Lord even let me know up to this moment, this girl is demonstrating behavior to put me in the grave. She's gotten with these people, Bishop Dale Bronner, along with other people, and she's sowing evil seeds to cause premature death in my life. So I have no need of people like that. You're dangerous, and this is what God told me. These people are dangerous. They're dangerous for me. They're dangerous to purity. So yeah, you get the increase, but at the end of the day, you're gonna pay because you're not whole. The devil has robbed you. He has vicariously lived through you, used your body, and and then ultimately it's not even worth losing your soul. You can lose your soul because your house is swept clean. It doesn't have the word. And at the end of the day, my friend, she said, I don't even understand faith. I can't even comprehend, put that together. And that's because she was engaged, supping with that familiar spirit. And God said, I cannot sup with you. If you're supping every day, you burning that fire, you're not talking to the Holy Spirit, but it's a familiar spirit, and God is not going to come in between that. So, at the end of the day, you can end up losing your soul. So it is not worth it. You're going to be whole, you're going to be strong. And that's why he said those who burn that fire is, he called them, you're not a people. You can come to a place where you're not a people because those things, they're controlling you. You're not even whole. You're not who you say you are. And when that fire goes down and not working, just like a lot of the gifts and everything will slap on you, they will, God, he can take them away. He said, what has been given to you, I will take it away. You didn't use it properly. So, yeah, you'll get put up on the pinnacle because you look like you got character, but you really don't. And then the devil, he'll pull the rug out from up under you, and he'll leave you in a hole and laughing at you. As far as I'm concerned, unauthorized fire, it is a welfare fire because you don't really live life. You don't know how to live life. You got a familiar spirit vicariously living through you and giving you increase. You getting it really easy, and you are not experiencing life in its true form in every aspect that God had initially intended for you to live and experience life, so you can get to know him, the real, true, and living God. So it is inferior. It's an inferior fire, and you're not living life fully. It's a welfare fire. You got it. It's welfare. You got increase, but it's really welfare. Okay? So, just want to throw that out there to all the, you know, the arrogant. They got their fire and they got their money. Well, it's the law of that fire, and you're going to be a hypocrite too. It's a welfare fire. You know, middle class to rich, they are sleeping with their daughters, and it's because of that fire. And God said it in His Word, the Gentiles, He mentioned how they were going to have these sexual sins, and it's because of the fire, because they burn fire. And so a lot of people, you know, they said, well, you know, when these girls engage in they had the problem of, you know, engaging in an affair with their fathers inappropriately, you know, they're like, get over it, you know. And it's not easy for these people to get over it, and they don't have the richness of not having that type of relationship. You know, you have money, that family has money, it has everything else, but that child does not have the purity of just never being touched. Right, never being touched. And so we give up, you know, a lot of the little things that would cause us to be rich in our just personality and our everyday being, you know, just being whole. You're not being whole. When you burn that fire, you are not whole. It's taking away your wholeness as a person. And so I just wanted to bring that point out. You know, I was just talking to Jens when I was over her house, and I mentioned that to her about my dad, you know, how he never touched me. And, you know, I was just talking to her, and she just got up in the middle of me talking to her. And she walked away, leaving me with the impression that, indeed, she was touched. And I do recall her father. I remember her father, and he drank. He worked with a relative of mine, and it was a rug facility where they clean rugs. And I recall this man, and I know he had a drink every so often. And you know, when you're the target of that fire, you're gonna drink. Okay? Usually these men, they do drink. If someone is controlling them with that fire, they're gonna drink. And yeah, she just up and left. And I really believe that's a secret of hers, that it did indeed happen. And I recall when her father when he passed, she was upset. And I've seen patterns with other people, you know, who had been touched by their father. They didn't even go to the funeral. Well, during this time, she was upset. I mean, she was just grouchy and barking at everybody. Okay, she was the only one that was barking. The other kids, they weren't, you know. So hey, you have the increase of the fire, but you're not whole. It's taken away in other little areas, and little is much. Right. And as a result of that fire, she's lived a promiscuous life. You know, she's engaged in, you know, just, you know, fornication. You know, I know since high school. So, you know, that was just, you know, always. I recall talking to Janice about oral sex. I was like, I just cannot imagine performing oral sex. And her response was, never said what you would not do. And so I knew she had, you know, just by her statement, her response, that she had performed oral sex. So yeah, as a result of that fire, you're going to get in all types of sexual perversion, from fornication to oral sex, which is sexually perverted. It is unclean to put your mouth on someone's sexual organ. I know everybody have their sexual preference, but the Holy Ghost has made me to know, I know, and by the word of God, it is unclean. It's unclean to even deal with the issues that comes from your body. You got issues that come from your body, urine that comes from your body. Your mouth is not supposed to be around sexual organs. Okay? And it's a result of that unauthorized fire. You're going to be engaged in all these different types of behavior, which is animal. Animals engage in these acts, cleaning up their organs, licking their organs and the issues that come out of their bodies. Animals do that. And so that proves it's the entities of that fire that's vicariously living through these people, and you're gonna get involved in oral sex. And this is what God, he mentioned that the Gentiles, that they were doing, and he was telling his people, don't do what they do. Okay, that's what God said. And so in this segment we're gonna talk about dealing with all types of uncleanness as a result of burning unauthorized fire. I have synced it. The Lord has shown me that as he has taught me, about burning fire illegally and the results of that fire. I've seen it not in just one person's life, but in a number of people's lives, and in older people as they've gotten older in the church. They start dealing with, just unclean things. And I know some of you probably heard it too. Urine, the issues that comes from their body, and dung and just all of that. And so it is real. And I think a lot of these people, they have the increase of that fire. They're trying their best to be clean and proper, but hey, it is the law of that fire. At the end of the day, you're gonna involve yourself in these unclean behaviors in some shape, way, or form. And some people is worse, far more worse than others, but you're gonna get involved in this. And so it is an unclean, perverted fire. So let's go right back into this testimony, okay? Okay, and this last thing I want to say, in reference to, her house and just the disorganization, the clutter, the dust. I mean, I dust her house all around. I gave them a vision of what their house could be, like how they could upkeep their house, because it was terribly it wasn't kept up properly. She wanted a new stove, but by the time I cleaned the stove, it was a new stove. By the time I got through cleaning the inside of her refrigerator, it was a brand new refrigerator. And that tub, oh my God, I have never seen a tub like that. Never in my entire life. But while I was over there, her daughter, I'm telling you, she left the bathroom. Now she took a bath every day in that nasty tub, but I cleaned the tub, and they were shocked. So she was taking a bath, at least while I was there. I don't know what they do when, behind closed doors when no one is around. But I'm telling you, I'm not impressed with intelligence. If you burn unauthorized fire, I'm not impressed with intelligence, because the characteristic of that fire, it follows, and it's an unclean, defiled fire. Right. And I'm telling you, dealing with poop, it get really nasty, and just not being clean, right. Uncleanliness, it follows that fire, and all kinds of gossip and mischief and mess, it follows those people who burn. So that's why I said don't be all impressed with intellect, because as these people get older burning that fire, it gets nasty, right, behind the scene. And they can come out and project intelligence, and project all this stuff that we deem just wonderful, but intelligence is not character. Right. Okay, we seem to try to parallel intelligence and being able to speak articulate with character. That's not character. Mm-hmm. Okay, and they get nasty.
They
and so
more like the animals that they serve.
Right, it's the animal, it's the animals of that fire. Because I even watch children, they're gonna mess with their poop or something like that. Well, while I was over there, I'm telling you, this young lady, her daughter came out of the bathroom. I just remember she coming out of the bathroom, and I went in the bathroom, and to my surprise, I'm telling you, poop was on the bathroom floor. It was her poop. I'm like, what happened? And indeed, I was like, you remember me telling you, I said, no, when that tub was nasty, I saw fingers. It was like somebody's fingers, and it was like a finger curve, like somebody done dug somewhere, and you saw fingerprints, like they were wiping their fingerprints across the tub. And I said, I don't know what in the world that was supposed to be in the middle of all that dirt. but it just made me think about poop. It could have been anything.
Right.
Okay, like they trying to clean, but it was poop on the floor. And I was too embarrassed for her to bring it up to her attention, so I just got it up and put it in the stool.
Wow.
But poop was on the floor.
Right.
Okay? And so those kids, I just know children, I've experienced that. They disoriented, their nerves are
Right.
just,
Nervous.
they very, because there's so much energy, they put out that energy on those kids, and they be nervous, and they be, digging in their behinds, and I'm telling you, this young lady, now she she's not a baby, she's like 8th, 9th grade,
Right.
and that's what happened when I was there. And it follows that fire. Even Oprah Winfrey herself, okay, during the latter years before she closed that TV show out, she was talking about poop big time.
Yeah.
But she was trying to engage the audience, saying, I'm the big Oprah Winfrey, but I'm used to commoners. I poop just like everybody else. But she was talking about poop a whole lot, and I have evidence.
Yes, you do.
Okay, we're not going to talk about that right now, but I have evidence that indeed that this is so. I mean, it gets nasty with these people. These people are not the people that they project themselves to be. God said, Oprah, what we saw on television, he said she's not being herself.
Right.
And I have proof,
Yes,
and we're going to talk about that later, but I have proof that indeed what we saw on that television wasn't the Oprah Winfrey, the same intellectual Oprah Winfrey that she projected herself to be. I just want to share another description of this tub. I want to make sure that you understand what I saw. I never saw a tub so nasty, and I just want to be clear on the description of this tub. It was dirty. It was dark, dirty, dark, brown, nasty. Okay, the tub, it was dirty. Completely dark all over the tub. You couldn't see any white spots. It wasn't like you just had a ring around the tub, white here, white there, a ring, a little dirty ring. No, the whole tub was dark. The tub hadn't been cleaned or washed since the girl had been there, since they had moved into the house. That's what it appeared to be. So it was dark. The bottom part of the tub was dark, around the walls of the bottom, up to the shower wall part. It was all black and dark, and then you saw fingerprints where, it looks like you dug somewhere and you just, had your fingers, another dark curve or something. And I was like, was that done after, going into the bathroom and right after her daughter coming out, seeing that she left Dawn on the floor. So on that note, I'm going to end this, and we're going to come to you with the next session of the Bishop Dale Bronner story. To give you the opportunity to support the work of this ministry financially. The truth of the gospel is buried in the debris and the ashes of the world system's fire. Because of the church, many false prophets, preachers, and teachers burn candles and incense unauthorized. They've turned the truth of the gospel into a lie. They are perpetuating witchcraft around the world, controlling the people's minds across the lands through working spells, mixing the truth with lies. Indeed, This is a sign of the times. We're in the last days, days of great deception, days of gross darkness, where spiritual adversaries and principalities are everywhere carrying out the curse of the law. Your generosity equips us to share the gospel that Jesus Christ taught to millions of people around the world. We are spreading light and God's holy messengers throughout the lands through the preaching of the word, our daily prayers, and authorized prayer rituals. On bended knees, we lift you and your family up before God. We humbly thank you, our friends and partners, for your support. Nothing blesses us more than to see lives changed by the gospel of Jesus Christ. It is simply priceless. To support us, you may call us, write in, or give online. Your generosity enables us to stop misfortune in the lives of others. May God bless you many times over for your seed donations. Thank you so much for your special gift to this ministry. We love you so much.